Life in America in the 1950s. A stroll down memory lane. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you hear it? The crackle of the radio, Elvis crooning, "Love Me Tender." The smell of fresh-cut grass drifting through an open window. It's 1955, and life in America feels full of promise. Let's take a walk back, not just to remember, but to relive the moments that shaped us. The war was over, the economy was booming, and the country was young. Minus 31% of Americans were under 18. We were raising the first wave of baby boomers, moving into shiny new suburban homes and dreaming big. Families gathered around black and white TVs to watch the Ed Sullivan Show or Leave It to Beaver. By the end of the decade, 90% of households had a television, a miracle of technology that brought the world right into our living rooms. Most families had one breadwinner, usually dad, while mom kept the home running like clockwork. Only about 29% of women worked outside the home in 1950. But inside the home, they were CEOs of everything that mattered: meals, laundry, homework help, and keeping the neighborhood grapevine alive. Dinner was sacred: meatloaf on Mondays, pot roast on Sundays, and Jell-O salads that somehow made it to every church potluck. Kids played outside until the streetlights came on, riding bikes without helmets, playing stickball, or catching fireflies in jars. The soundtrack of our lives was rock and roll. Elvis, Chuck Berry, Little Richard. Teenagers danced in sock hops at the high school gym, while parents preferred the smooth sounds of Frank Sinatra or Patti Page. At the movies, we lined up to see Singing in the Rain, Rebel Without a Cause, or a John Wayne Western. Drive-in theaters were date night central. And yes, sometimes the movie was just background for holding hands. Thanks to the GI Bill and low mortgage rates, around 2.5%, families could afford their own homes. Places like Levittown popped up almost overnight, with houses built in as little as 16 minutes each. The suburbs meant backyards for barbecues, block parties, and kids running between houses without a care. It was a time when you knew your neighbors and probably borrowed their lawnmower. School started with the Pledge of Allegiance, chalk squeaking on blackboards, and the smell of freshly sharpened pencils. Lunchboxes had Hopalong Cassidy or Mickey Mouse on the front, and inside, a peanut butter sandwich, an apple, and maybe a homemade cookie. Recess was jump rope, marbles, or Red Rover. And if you got in trouble, the teacher called your parents, and you'd better believe they took the teacher's side. We thought we were living in the future. Refrigerators with built-in freezers, rotary phones, and cars with tail fins that looked ready for takeoff. By the late 50s, color TV was on the horizon, and Polaroid cameras let you see your photo in under a minute. No smartphones, no internet, but somehow we never felt out of touch. People stayed active without even thinking about it, walking to the store, mowing the lawn, hanging laundry on the line. Communities were tight-knit. Church on Sundays, PTA meetings, and volunteering at local events. And while we didn't have today's medical technology, we had something powerful: neighbors who checked in, friends who brought soup when you were sick, and families who looked out for each other. Of course, not everything was perfect. We had to bang the TV to fix the picture. Kids drank from the garden hose. And somehow, every family had that one chair nobody was allowed to sit in because it was for company. But those quirks? They're part of what made the 50s ours. The 1950s weren't just a decade, they were a foundation. The values of hard work, community, and optimism shaped who we became. Even now, when the world feels faster and noisier, those lessons still guide us. Now it's your turn. What's your favorite memory from the 1950s? Was it your first car, your wedding day, a favorite song on the jukebox? Share it in the comments. Let's create a living scrapbook together. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and join me next week for Asterisk 10 Everyday Things from the 1960s we've forgotten. Asterisk, because our stories matter, and they deserve to be told.